how do you change an oil on the Yamaha R3? So it's pretty simple. You'll want to get a 12 millimeter for the plug. You want to grab another oil filter. So if you do a cross-reference, the farm one, this is the cheaper one that you can buy at Walmart, and it's the PH6017A. I had the racing one, P&G or something like that, and it's like it doesn't really matter for these commuter bike, and especially if you're going to replace it quite a bit. You don't need to buy the $30 one. This is like $6. And then you want a oil filter wrench. So and then also this, and then the oil you need is of 10W40. You don't need to get a special OEM one from the manufacturer. You're just going to be pissing your money away because they're both the same. So the Castrol 10W40 should be enough. And what you're going to do first is you want to take the oil filter out. And if you have one of these charcoal canister that's touching that, I made a different video on how to fix it. So now it's fixed. So first you want to take this oil filter out. So I'm going to use this, but I did have one with the wrench on it, but you know, and then I'll check back. So I took the oil filter out. I had the K&N. You're gonna replace it every year anyway. There's no need to buy it for 60 bucks. And it comes out right there. And you want to make sure that there's no O-ring stuck on there or anything that might cause a leak on a new filter. So we're gonna take the new filter, right here, open it up, and then you're gonna lubricate it. You want the old oil to drip out like this, and then you don't need to wait super long. And then what you want to do is you want to take some of the old oil. You can use the new oil too, but it doesn't really matter. So you take the old oil and then you lubricate the O-ring on it, the rubber gasket on here, see? And because if you don't do that, you're going to cause it to rip during the friction. You can put oil in here as well if you want, so that like you can kind of measure out the oil easily. But what I do is I just add extra oil so that it will just kind of even itself out. So I put the new filter in, the farm filter. It fits perfectly, and you don't want to over tighten it, or you're not going to be take it out, or you might hurt the O-rings and it might cause leak. You want to tighten it all the way with your hands. And then you want to take two hands, make sure you get one of these paper towel or rag, dry yourself out, and then just kind of grip the filter with it and turn, so that it will stay nice and tight. You want it to be hand tight. Oh, see? But then when you start off the engine, you want to kind of look if there's any leakage from there. If there's leaking from there, which means you didn't tighten it well enough. Some people would just take this and they might grip it like this, and they might just do like a quarter turn like that, just to make sure it's tight. But you don't want to over tighten it by any means. And I don't like using this on a new filter because it might you might kind of bend it and cause shards to be in there. All right, once the oil filter has been replaced, you want to go down here where my hand is, and you want to undo that plug with a 12 millimeter wrench, and then you'll just let it drip until it stops dripping. All right, so now once that is draining, it gave me a chance to go up there and get a funnel to put in the oil, and I almost forget that if you come over here, it helps you if you take this cap out, so that you can it can drain a little bit easier. But if you don't do that, it doesn't really matter. All right, it'll still drain. It might take a little bit longer, like maybe 1 or 2 more minutes extra. And now see, it's dripping, and you can already plug it when it's just dripping this small, or you can just let it drip for a couple hours and go get lunch, come back, and more of the old oil out, but it really doesn't matter. I think at this point it's cool. You can plug this up. You also want a baggie, like this, a sandwich bag, so that you can kind of put the oil filter in here, and then you can dispose of it by giving it to the auto department of like a Walmart supercenter. And I have a jug, an empty jug of of water, but it's just empty, right? So I could just I could drain this oil into here, and then I could give it to the Walmart supercenter, where they could use it to recycle and make new oil with it. So yeah, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna plug it up, and I'm gonna put oil in here with the funnel, but I'll get back to you when I do that. So I plugged up the plug, and you may wondering what kind of torque, foot-pound it would take. I've been a mechanic for a very long time, and when I tie in this thing, and I don't have money to waste on a torque wrench and to recalibrate it every time, I just go, oh, yep, that's tight enough. And that's good. Just put your weight into it. It's tight enough, and then when you start it doesn't leak. It's good enough. Next step is to come to the other side, and this hole is what you use to fill the oil, and then this gauge is what you use to measure if it's how much it is. There's two knobs in here. As long as the oil between these two knobs, it should be okay. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fill it up, and it's gonna go a little bit above the full, because the oil filter is empty. You don't want to go too much above full, because the oil filter is actually really small. But you just go a little bit above it. Once you start the engine, you can kind of see it drop, and then you can kind of add or subtract, add from there. You shouldn't need to subtract if you do it correctly. All right, so now I'm gonna add the oil, and I'll check back with you guys. So now with that done, I'm gonna come over here and start up the engine. As you can see, I added extra to the sight gauge because the oil filter is empty. But I make sure that you don't fill it up all the way, and you kind of start it, and you let it run, and then it go down. See, it went down. So it looks like I might need to add a little bit more, but I'm gonna add some to top it up so that it's in the correct range. But what you also want to do is come over here, and then you want to reset the oil, the trip. So you want to go to where it say trip. So you want to click on these two. So there's no trip. So you go to trip, not trip 1 or trip 2, and then you hold the reset the top button until it blinks. Then you hold it down again, and then it says 0, and that's how you do it. Okay, so now it will tell you when you need to replace the oil again. And I hope this kind of helps you guys out. I'm just gonna drain this out. I'm gonna add some more oil, and yeah, that's pretty much it to changing the oil on the Yamaha R3. All right, peace.